Hello there. I have missed you. I know it's been a minute and I have totally, absolutely missed you. Wiser and Brave is back and we are bigger, better, and with a different tone. I can guarantee you that our menu looks delicious. I want us to address something very, very important, especially because we have witnessed it. If you watch the news, I'm sure it's not new to you. It's all mental health, mental issues. I mean, we have witnessed murder cases, we have witnessed suicides. But is there anything we can do? Are there people we can run to? Are there forums we can engage in to, have a solution to all this? So today I have a special guest and he's going to talk to us exactly about that. George, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I'm George Kimando and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about these issues that you very well impressed upon. I think they are very, very pertinent issues.
Yes.
That require a very concerted effort by everybody.
Yes.
Also by the people who can do a lot of impact like government. But as you know, we cannot leave everything to government. You know, the government is an enabler of the situation that we as a people can do to improve ourselves and improve our circumstances.
Yes.
So George Kimando is the executive director and founder of Tunza Kenya.
Yes.
And I think we are going to deal a bit more with that.
Yeah.
And I want to focus on that because that is basically the thrust of this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, and it came up because of many issues which I'm going to dwell on as we proceed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are the chief executive. Why? Which is your why? Why did you want to take up, this initiative and, run with it?
Right. It has a background.
Okay.
Longer than what we see today.
Yes.
My main background is health communication, actually.
Okay. Health communication.
Yes,
okay.
That's my main area of training, working, teaching. And it is out of that, although there's a more personal story about why the mental health issues, which came from a very close friend who lost a son to suicide, again founded on addiction.
Okay.
And of course, after that background, we realized when I was thrust into this space, I realized there is so much. Because I remember when we started from a realm of addiction and depression.
Okay.
And then when I went to it, I realized there's so much that is encapsulated in what is now the mental health space.
Okay.
But most people will just talk about depression, which represents mental health actually, mental health challenges. And the background of it is I realized there's so much that is undone.
Yes.
And whatever little is being done is done in a very unstructured way.
Okay.
Government, without blaming them, because I think it's something which has not been brought to the fore. So most people did not understand it. And that is what informed our pillars on which Tunza Kenya is built upon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have said that there is the picture is greater than we see it on our faces.
Exactly. Maybe what I can do is to take you through. Okay, I was trying to derive the origination of Tunza Kenya, how it came to be, and that's what I was telling about how it came to be in this space. That a friend of mine lost a son to suicide, which was premised on addiction, and then she was very keen about developing a platform that will mitigate those challenges. Okay. Because she realized also that it is something that was affecting many more people than what we even know from the outside. And then, like most things that people think are shameful, there was a lot of hiding away. Yes. People who are affected by this. And one of the things that we needed to do was to bring it out to the fore so that people can have an honest discussion about it, with the end result being to find solutions that will cancel out these challenges.
Okay.
But perhaps what I may take you through is what we intend to do.
Okay.
And Tunza Kenya is premised on 5 main pillars.
Okay.
5 pillars.
All right.
And if you can allow me, I can take you briefly through them.
Okay, please do.
Because as I mentioned that from where it came from,
Yes.
the challenge of non-conversation. People don't understand it.
Yes.
People think mental health challenges is simply alcoholism, addiction, and depression.
Or even witchcraft.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're so right about that.
Yes.
So we wanted people to come out, and so the first pillar, which we founded to the Kenya on, was about advocacy and awareness.
Advocacy and awareness.
Exactly, because the first thing that you need people to do is for them to understand these things that seem to be hanging somewhere in the air, affecting people. As you mentioned very clearly, that people think is Shira. Shira is witchcraft. With our friends from the lake, they will say, just like I remember, when we had HIV around 85 going to the 90s coming to Kenya,
Yes.
people said this is witchcraft because they did not know it. I mean, the issue of stigma.
Yes.
So the thing that we wanted to do is first of all to prepare people by understanding. One of the key things about communication is understanding.
Yes.
So we want people to understand
Yes.
what is mental ill health. Don't think it is witchcraft. Understand what it is, and then which leads to the next pillar, number 2, which is now once people understand and they come out, they'll come to us, they'll ask questions. Where do they go? So pillar number 2 is to raise a network of professionals who will deal with these cases. Counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, clinical psychologists who will come and tell, okay, you George or you Jerry, you need counseling, so needs rehab, this one is detox, all those mitigating avenues.
Okay.
So that's what we have done already. And then pillar number 3 is having long-term interventions.
Long-term interventions.
Yes, this is a country that we are in whereby we always run to close the stable after the proverbial horse has run away. So much as we are dealing with the current crisis, because it's actually a crisis.
Yes.
What do we do to prevent us from getting here again? Okay? So we have, like, for example, I'll give you an example. There are some places that like alcoholism is a real danger and a threat to society and communities. We have places where people don't give blood. I mean, there's simply no couples to do that, and largely men, because men are unavailable. So what makes these young men become so alcoholic and useless, so to say, in their late 20s and early 30s, right? Is it because there have been so much empowerment of the women and they have been neglected to the side, or what happened to them? If those are the cases, then what can we do now to ensure that in the next 15 or so years, the current 10-year-old won't be like their father, right? So we have long-term interventions that and forecasts that will mitigate the current, the current crisis. That's just one example. And then number 4, we realize this is something very, very long term, and which perhaps is the most ambitious period that we have, of setting up a physical one-stop facility, right? That will house and enclave all these ideas that we have, all these programs that we have. We have a clinical side, you have a training side. We have wanting also to sustain the programs going ahead, all those things. A resource center, because we don't have one here, but I think the one that we know of is Madare, but again, the connotations, it doesn't quite sound very positive. So we have that long-term vision to have a one-stop facility that will house all of this. And then, of course, number 5 is about resource mobilization and sustainability of this program. I mean, they all need resources. So those are the 5 main pillars, which are grounded on what I told you earlier, the origination of
Tunza
Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is where we are going, but what has Tunza Kenya done, like so far in relation to, mental health?
Oh, we have done a lot.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just that we don't go shouting. Actually,
now here you have the freedom to shout.
Right. Thank you for that.
Yes.
And actually, all the 5 pillars, actually,
Yes.
we've done quite a bit of each. Advocacy is, and you realize that these are things that are actually continuous. Yeah. We do bit by bit.
Okay.
We have advocacy and awareness. We have done quite a bit of it through shows like this one.
Yes.
We've done a lot of video communication.
Okay.
We have communicated to schools and institutions.
Yes.
We are doing that.
Yeah.
We are going into corporates with a training manual for something we are calling the workplace wellness program. We have been talking to where we can find most of the youth, like churches. We don't want to make it religious, but that is a very, very primary to get these people and talk to them about this crisis.
Yes.
We have done a lot about that. We have raised a network of professionals. And in fact, by raising that also, we are discovering new areas.
Yes.
For instance, much as people are talking to, we just focus on the people who are sick and who may be having issues.
Yes.
But as we talk to professionals and people keep coming up,
Yes.
we realize more specific areas of engagement.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Like the last couple of weeks, actually, we have come with something called, one of the things that that we have identified as a very important factor of mental health disorders are relationships, right from families and marriages. So like now you're working with people who have identified something like family and marriage therapy as a pure platform and area of focus.
Yes.
So we're talking about issues that are coming, and these are real issues. So in fact, even for us, is a discovery journey.
Yes.
So is that then on the way you realize
there are more gaps to
be filled.
Okay.
So we have done quite a lot about that, and we are continuing doing that. And that also means like developing manuals and content, which wasn't there before. And that also means engaging professionals. So we also do very professional content and all that. Things to do with the long-term interventions. We are engaging government. In fact, right now, I can tell you, we have been engaged by the Office of the Second Lady, Dr. Brigadi, in doing stuff with her for the boy child, because we identify that as one area of collaboration.
Yes.
And we are doing that also, and also like that one also we are trying to get people to come up and talk about the issues, about the one-stop facility. We are engaging people and partners who are going to mobilize the resources so we can have that. We have been talking actually with the government itself to see if we can get some space so that we can put this together. So we've done quite a lot about it. Actually, and again, maybe something I may mention here, like in the process of doing this, we realized there's one major gap. That is the aspect of men being the ones who are largely affected by these issues. So we have started now a component of it we are calling Unshackled. Unshackled, which is more or less like a TV, YouTube production. Have been meant to open up because we realize these are they are very, very central to any community or family. Starting from the family and down there. The unit that forms communities. So what do we do about them? And so all these are things that we are doing so far. Others are coming up. They keep emerging. As I said, it's a journey of discovery. And so we have done quite a bit. Of course, more needs to be done. But as I'm saying, we do it one at a time.
Okay, well done. I think that deserves
Thank you.
acknowledgement.
Asante sana.
So now in terms of like you've said, you address, you've gone to all these, you address corporate schools, religious centers and all of that. Do you attend, do you do it for groups? Do you do it for individuals? How do you work it out?
Both, actually. There are those, it's a very interesting space, Jerry. You find that like now in schools and institutions, those you can be able to get people into groups. You'll be surprised. There are very many people who have got issues but don't wish to come out. So there's also the issue of confidentiality. So they want their issues to be handled privately and very, very confidentially. If, for instance, is a very top corporate CEO, he or she may not be comfortable, being seen coming to a clinic. And this is not what I'm talking about. New issues keep emerging. But there are people, like now we are working with two people actually, two professionals who are doing meetings. So this may surprise you. In restaurants or at homes, whereby someone is assured of privacy, because now people are still stigmatized to be seen walking to a clinic, to a counselor's clinic or a psychologist's clinic, like what will people think about me? So you find people chatting in a coffee shop, and they are in a serious discussion about their mental health issues professionally, before you could not see that happening. So yes, we do it both ways, both at the individual level, at the group level, which of course now encompasses other things like institutions and all that. Yes, so depending, these are cases that are very unique. So every case has got its unique way of approach, and that's what we apply. Yeah. So
do you do it you do it town and out?
Exactly. I mean, we do it. We have, this is a very general problem. In fact, I was telling somebody, every family is affected, whether urban or rural. And then see what happens is that now in the urban areas, because maybe of the focus of things like the media, or maybe somebody prominent has been affected, that's when we tend to notice. But even in the rural areas, right, I can tell you something like alcoholism. Is a big issue in the rural areas. And then you see for them, because most people they may not afford to have the usual alcoholic drinks, they'll take everything that can make them high, So the focus is everywhere. Of course, we got to have starting points, and then progressively we dwell on others. But the focus is everywhere, both urban and rural.
Yes, so now we have already established that mental space is for everyone, whether, irrespective of where you are. In fact, it's a global issue, right? So now, where we are, how can we act from the space we are, whether we are directly or indirectly affected?
There's something that you have said very right. That mental health is everybody's concern. And
responsibility,
actually, exactly, that's the word, responsibility. Because, and every family knows of either somebody who is within your family or who is either somebody who is affected by, if it's not somebody who is innate, the other people are affected. For instance, if you take an alcoholic, he or she is not just a concern to just him or herself. The family gets concerned, is affected. So number one, what we need to do is, and that is part of what we're trying to do in a very big way, is to destigmatize people about it. And that's the concern I talked about, advocacy and awareness. Because we realize many people are very affected by that. So what do? They'll keep away from the public. They do it in private. Say we have somebody in the family, we don't want it to be known out there. In fact, I remember there's somebody I interviewed about a couple of months ago who came, I think had been to India, came back to Kenya. The family is very prominent. So what do they do? To contain him, or his drinking habits to within the family, they opted to house him and buy him alcohol in the house.
Buy him alcohol in the house.
So if you have to drink, then drink it from here. But what they did not realize is that this guy is about also the environment. One, the conventional beers don't affect him. They won't make him high. And then there's about the people he drinks with. So he goes from a very prominent estate, he jumped to a slum nearby, and take Shanga with the buddies because he loves that company. But then, but what is making these people not come out? Stigma. you know. So the issue is about acceptability, number one. People need to accept that this is a real issue, and we need to address it in a very concerted way. In fact, what I remind people is where we were in the mid-80s to going to 90s and early 90s about HIV. You see, when it hit our shows, everybody was like, you know, just like you mentioned earlier, is witchcraft. You know, people didn't know how to address it. Yeah, people know somebody is HIV positive, they're secluded. You know, if it's in a family, you find somebody is even given their own room, their own eating utensils, and you're basically like, I mean, you're just waiting for your death.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and that was so stigmatizing.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the key things that has been done in that HIV space is efforts toward destigmatization.
Yes.
And that's where we are with mental health issues.
Okay.
Whereby, you know, if somebody talks about mental health, we think, huyo ni wazimu. So I mean, you're human, so you recoil. So even if you have an issue, you do not come out with it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The other thing that has that we are doing and trying a lot to do is to normalize not being okay.
Okay.
You know, if there's a slogan that we have been using in many of our engagements, that is okay being not okay sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you realize, like, if somebody is going through some circumstances, people tend to ignore that a lot. But you see, once it becomes everybody's business, now it will be easy for you to realize, oh, George has an issue actually. And this guy, he needs help. Not condemnation.
Yes.
In the corporate world, we're telling people, if somebody has been doing well and then there's a certain dip, that person is not non-performing.
Yes.
There's an issue.
Okay.
Look for that reason.
All right.
You know, like what we are talking about being each other's keeper. Yeah. Yeah, so that is part of the efforts that we're doing towards that agenda.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so far so good. We are still coming back with George with a lot more on this mental health awareness and all of that. So please don't go. I will be right back after this break. Welcome back. Yeah, so we are still with George Kimando, the Chief Executive Officer of Tunza Kenya, and this is an initiative that, you know, takes care of our mental health. Okay, so we have discussed so much and we're still going to carry forth and hear what a lot more we are going to learn from George. So George, you mentioned that you mentioned that in the rural areas, okay, the way this kind of mental illness or running away from all this mental space that we don't want to confront is manifesting in, you know, our men going into alcoholism. So here's my question. Do we have like specific characteristics for every area in how it manifests so that someone out there would know what to look out for?
That's a very interesting question because it touches on what most people would look out for,
okay,
or what we need to look out for. You know, why I mentioned addiction and more so alcoholism is because it is a widely known thing of how mental health challenges manifest.
Okay.
But whether in urban or the workplace or the rural areas or whatever it is, we have almost everything presenting at varying degrees.
Okay.
For instance, alcoholism, people will notice more on the village drunkard who will drink and go home and, you know, and jump into a dish and lie there. Okay. Here, maybe now in the urban areas, you find a person, I mean, a very decent person like myself. Okay, okay, I think I'm decent. For instance,
Yes,
you find me, I'm in an office, but I can't go to work without having a shot in the morning. People may not notice, but I'm going through a struggle, and maybe because of maybe the image I know I have out there, I would want to put it, I mean, to put a kind of like a mufflage, so my colleagues, my family doesn't understand it. That's a red flag right there. You can't have, for instance, people even in the urban areas for things like drug addiction. You know, I smoke, but my family doesn't know. or I smoke, say, marijuana for instance, but I'll keep it away from my family or my colleague. Maybe I do it with my friends at specific areas. These are things that people see. But what other people might want to know, to understand, and perhaps identify with their colleagues, their siblings, their family members, and all that, is a change of how they relate with them. Maybe a change of patterns. All of a sudden, I have been coming home very early, by 6, 7, I'm home, sorry, for dinner. Then all of a sudden, every Friday, Saturday, I'm absent. I come home at 1 a.m.
So here, one thing you've pointed out to Mark is a sudden change that is unexplainable.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, that's one. And then, of course, the other thing also that people don't understand is that addiction even to work is actually a problem.
Yes, being too much addicted.
Too much to work.
Okay.
That you wake up at 5 a.m., at 6 in the office, and you're leaving at midnight. That's not normal. You need to dig deeper. Why is this guy suddenly away from whatever he was doing before and focus so much on what? In fact, actually, one of the things that people like now, actually, one main precursor of marriage breakups.
Yes.
People just talk about affairs.
Yes.
You'll be shocked that people indulge themselves into work or even hobbies. Like someone has not been in the gym, but now he's the first person in the gym in the morning and the last to leave in the evening. After work, I go to the gym again. So what is this I'm running away from? You notice those kind of changes. Then, of course, then there are things like somebody who has been drinking, he's 1, 2, 3 drinks and they are done. By the time they're done and they're off home, then all of a sudden they become drunkard and rowdy.
Okay.
Those those change of behavior patterns. Largely, in fact, what you need to check out most is largely behavioral.
Yes.
Almost 90% about it is behavioral changes.
Okay.
You notice the person, and your person who was very, very early to the office, suddenly he's coming at 9 and very non-cut about it. He doesn't care. He's caught by the boss and told you are lagging behind. He's like, he doesn't care. Nothing matters to him anymore. I have 2 cases, the one which happened last year or the other year, I think. A guy who was very active at, one of the government agencies, who was known to some of us, and he had been a very, very good employee.
Okay.
And then one day, over a couple of times, he just slackened. His work is lagging behind. Then one weekend he took his family, he had a young family.
Okay.
He took them home to Western Kenya, and he came back and committed suicide. It's only when the guy is gone that people realize, wait a minute, by the way, I noticed this and this and this and this, but you say at that time you did not talk.
Yes. Yes.
So about 90% of what we need to detect about people going through struggle is actually behavioral.
Okay.
From what you have been used to changing the behavioral patterns. That's largely what you need to focus on.
Okay.
So
if I happen to notice, change of attitudes, and behavior and patterns, as you have indicated, as a person wanting to help, okay, how do I go about this? Like, if I notice someone and, are we allowed to give them no peace until, they seek help? Or how do we, if we are the people who want to help, how do we go? We may not be professionals, but what our, immediate, space, what do we do?
The first thing is empathy.
Empathy.
Okay. Because of and this may
by that empathy you mean you might need to expand that.
You need to understand that this person is not pretending that he has a problem.
Yes.
The disconnect I talked about earlier, and perhaps that you mentioned this is something that cannot be answered in one word.
Yes.
Because it involves a lot of convergences.
Yes.
One thing is maybe the first thing is about empathy. Because we realize that in most families, in most communities, in most corporate places, if, for instance, just give that example of somebody who has just taken to drinking, the first thing is to try to berate them. Like, you have changed, you have become a drunkard, is to berate them, want to correct them using the fist.
Okay.
So you say that,
Yes.
So this person this person actually has a problem. So what do? they disengage from you, or they start doing it in hiding. If it's a spouse, if it's a colleague, if it's a child, a sibling, they disengage from you who is, like you want to be with them, they consider you puritanical. You just the bad thing, the bad side of me. So what do? I shut you out. So the first thing is empathy. Let them understand me, understand that you understand them, so they can open up.
Okay.
Right? Because the moment you berate them, they shut down. And you know what has happened to them. In fact, like even, like for instance, with children especially, even you, growing up, if you know that if I do something which maybe I did not even intend to do,
Yes.
and my parent know they beat me,
Yes.
I'll shut up, I'll hide.
Yes.
It is the same thing with adults,
Yes.
or even children who are going
Yes.
through addiction or such stuff.
Yes.
But the moment they know that they are, that someone understands them, and that's why I talked about opening up channels. Like now, I'll give you an example of what I talked about, the workplace awareness program, whereby let people know. You see now, if say at the workplace, you talk about George having an issue,
Yes.
there's a fear of distribution.
Yeah.
So tuache kibelebele yako wewe, you know what I mean? So people shut up actually.
Yeah.
And like the example I've given you, it's only after the guy has committed suicide that
Yes.
people coming out, oh, by the way, I saw this.
Yes. I
You know,
noticed something.
Yeah, I noticed something was off with this guy. Or maybe the boss gave them a letter of warning or show cause why, you know. Or those are the things that now drive this person away. So we need to empathize with them. In fact, I think that's fundamental thing to do about a person going through a situation of, a mental health challenge. Yeah, that's what we need to do. And then, of course, be open about it.
Yeah.
And seek practical solutions. Because sometimes we do stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Somebody is having, like for instance, we are talking about like what I told you about those long-term interventions.
Yeah.
If somebody is drinking cheap liquor because he has no job to do,
Yes.
and let that person get something to do, he won't stop drinking that. So we also need to be very practical about
Yes.
about the solutions that we put in place.
Yes.
Long term especially.
Practicability and sustainability.
Yeah, that is very, very important to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you've said empathy. How do I demonstrate this empathy so that I can woo them over to this side rather than drive them further into what they're doing? How do I need to demonstrate that empathy? Of course, you've indicated let's not talk them down.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So how else do I demonstrate this empathy?
Actually, you don't need to show it like you are demonstrating it. Right?
No, I'm not saying I'm just saying in terms of how do they know I'm being empathetic?
They don't need to know.
Yes.
In fact, once they become conscious that you're doing something because of their condition, you might actually force them away.
Okay.
And that's why I talked about you understanding where this person is coming from. So you act normally. Okay? So if you have been having coffee, it's okay. You can tell me, oh, George, we can do coffee this Thursday, is fine. In the course of how we are talking, it's you who has it in your mind of what you need to talk about to me.
Okay.
But the moment you hit, I think you have a problem. Already my guard goes up.
Okay.
You get me? So it's not something that they need to be conscious about.
Okay.
And this is the point I want you to understand, and,
All right.
and the viewers to understand,
Yes.
that you do not need to be deliberate about it to a point that the other person knows what you're doing.
Okay.
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 But also when
Yes.
it becomes, okay, that's the first level. When it comes to a place whereby now you need to take action.
Yes.
And that is where, again, I go back to what we are trying to do about now seeking help. This person needs to get to a point whereby they admit that now may need a professional to do that.
Okay.
Or, before you even go to the professional, can they open up to somebody? Because you realize actually, by the way, you'd be surprised that most people who have got issues, sometimes, okay, there are those that they know about.
Yes.
Like addiction.
Yes.
There are those they do not know they have a problem, right?
They're unaware about.
Yes. So it is all those factors, like now at the workplace, you may need to create those channels
Okay.
to report somebody,
Yes.
hey, I think our colleague has an issue. Okay? So even if he or she may not be aware, other people have realized it, and they're taking concerted efforts towards addressing that person's problem. Okay? And then, of course, that issue of, there's also the individual empathy and also the collective empathy. Like at the workplace, for instance, how does that person go to hospital and come back, or to a rehab and come back and work with you? How do we reintegrate that person back to a normal life? People need to be empathetic about it, to understand where this person is coming from. Because if we don't do that, then it will push them away again, and possibly even take them back even worse than they were before.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we need to exercise empathy. What other measures do we need to take if we are not there? For that one person who's not there, but they're feeling like, we feel like, we are angling towards that side. What do I do to take care of myself?
Wow. That's it's a tricky thing, I must say that. Because sometimes, people have got issues.
Yes.
And individuals are very different. Even if you have a sister or a child, the fact that you have the same DNA may not guarantee that you have got the same temperaments and how you take things in.
Yeah.
So people are different.
Yes.
But I think for me, it's about communication. Let people understand these things. Let people know how to laugh about it. Actually, you know what happens? Like the things that happen to very many people, and they don't know how to, like what to do about them. Let them know that these things are normal. For instance, like now we have got a lot of mental health challenges because of economic issues.
Is it that the economic issues are causing these mental illnesses, or are they just amplifying the mental illnesses?
They are catalysts.
So they're amplifying, which to me, the issue is already there.
Is there already? How do I put this? They are not basic causes. Because I can be very broke,
yes,
but I'm happy.
Very happy.
Somebody else can be broke and they go into depression.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So it's not the presence of the issue being there,
yes,
it's how the individual takes it.
Yes.
And that's what I'm talking about, talking out issues, communicating to people. Like now, for instance, currently we are going through an economic depression as a country. Very many people are affected, more so with the COVID and the follow-up of issue, the Ukraine war and all that.
Yes.
People who have been doing very well.
Yes.
You don't know how to come from from Karen to South B. Okay. Maybe my facility at the bank was secured by my house in Karen. I can't meet those obligations. The bank gives me a choice. We can sell the house, and so you can also have, like a case I'll give you. So like a bank tells you, we can sell the house. So you don't seek into more depression. Maybe your obligation with us is about 50 million.
Yeah.
The property you have can take about 100 M. Market value. So instead of selling your house to cover our costs, let's do an agreement. We sell it for 100 million. We have a buyer actually. Pay us our 50, take that by 50, buy a house in South Bay. And the guy is like, how will I survive? People knew I was in Karen now. Those issues now. There's someone who will like, I got money even to start off in life. Good, let's do that,
Yes.
So it's not even about, so the issues present does not necessarily mean that you're going to get challenged mentally.
Yes.
And that's what I'm talking about, talking to people.
Yeah.
Giving them options. Because like now when the economic issues have been very depressing, what options do people have?
Yes.
Instead of 5 men getting depressed and going to drink together, and they're not even talking about the issues, they just go there to drink and drown their misery. They wake up in the morning sober and the issues are still there, What about taking like the women will do? They're going to talk about it, laugh about it. By the time you're leaving, you are shawarma meeting with your fellow women. 80% of that stress is gone. You have actually found, but this thing is not just me who's having it. And now once you identify a problem and you're several of you, then like, okay, let's get together.
It feels lighter.
Yeah, lighter. And then by the way, you also have like a support system.
Yes.
Like identify, by the way, we're having the same challenge. So I saw what we do about it. I had also did this. So already you don't start from a point of depression.
Yeah.
You start from a point of knowledge, information, and new energy.
Yes.
So that's why I keep on insisting. Please, these things, talk them out. Talk. You know, communicate to people. Give them options of. So from where you are coming from, you cannot undo what has happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it that you're going to do now from that point going forward?
Yes.
Yeah. Talk about things like people also get very affected by things like family breakups. Well, it's normal to have at least some time to take the pain off and all that.
Yes.
Some people stay there and get depressed, but tell them this is not just, it's not just you, number one. It has happened, so how do you move from there? You know, it's about communicating solutions and points of moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, so let's communicate solutions and, moving forward. Now, because, these days we have the privilege of occupying more than one space. I could be in my house, but I'm also in my, social media space.
Yeah, you're right.
How can I make that space, more of a healing space than, just making things worse for, for a situation that is already bad?
Also, it's very interesting that some spaces that we have also become sources of depression.
Exactly.
Like social media, for instance, it can be a very, very effective tool of communication.
Yes.
But at the same time, it can be a tool of
damage.
People are trolled and all that. So what I'm talking about is about knowing how to use those spaces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a case of a friend of mine who is a very prominent media personality.
Yes.
He gives his story about a very challenging moment that he had in his life. And what happens? He's so trolled by so many people, So now he comes back and tells me what I would ask men to do: seek professional help. If you've got an issue, please seek professional help. Don't go to the social media.
Yes.
To share your stories.
Yes.
But again, there are also other people who will share their stories and they get real help.
Yes.
You've seen that. So sometimes it's a catch-22 situation. Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yes.
But I think at the end of the day, for me, it's about having the right motivation.
Yes.
And also being strategic about how you use those spaces.
Okay.
Because that would be important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being strategic, communicating solution, being empathetic. So now I was asking myself, because before I can realize you're unwell, I suspect I will have, started feeling, I think I'm a bit off. Yeah. So coming from your chair as a professional, like what are some of those things you would advise me to do, wanting to take care of my mental space from a personal level?
Number one is an issue about what I call self-knowledge. And self-awareness. Okay? Be deliberate about it. Most people, by the way, even people who are much, much older, they still follow group thinking. And this is something that you cannot burden someone else with.
Yes.
It has to come from you.
Okay.
It has to come from me to know my situation. And perhaps, and that effort has to be deliberate, when to delve into both self-awareness.
Okay.
Know what works for you. It's just like going to school. You cannot sit in the house and expect to gain knowledge.
Okay.
Right? And then wait for exams. You fail.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, true.
This is something that everybody has to be impressed upon. Please take charge of your life.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, even if you visit counselors or those professionals, they can only do so much.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's about you. And that's why I keep communicating, even people who are around us, to know that there's something called personal responsibility.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it comes to that.
Yes.
Personal responsibility. Because even if I could go through a painful moment, I can only mourn too much. Yeah. Even in death, someone else will come and help you bury your loved one.
Yes.
And in a day or two, they'll be gone.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, okay, you can seek help to do that, to like refine your stuff again and like recharge your batteries and all that.
Yes.
But even from when you are very, very normal,
Yes.
stick it to your mind, stick it to your heart, stick to your spirit. It's about personal responsibility. It's about you at the end of the day.
Wow.
That is fundamental.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head for me, that in spite of everything else, it is our personal responsibility. And George and I could go on and on and on and not, come to the conclusion of this topic. So before I let George go, I'm going to allow him to tell us where we can find him, how we can reach him, so that if we need his professional help, then we have the freedom to, directly talk to him. So George, give us your handles, your address, whatever. How does someone reach you should they need your help?
Thank you very much. Yes. I am reachable. We have an office, a physical office.
Yes.
In Upper Hill in Nairobi. The other things that I do could be now where I teach, because I also teach, but that may not be able to do this one.
Yes.
But I'm also reachable on social media.
On social media, yes. So,
on Facebook, I'm George gkimando. George Kimando, actually. Sorry, I'm confusing this. On Facebook, I'm George Kimando.
Yes.
I do a lot of stuff on mental health issues.
Yes.
Twitter at gkimando. I'm most on LinkedIn as George Kimando.
Okay.
And on email,
yes,
gkimando@gmail.com and gkimando@tuzakenya.org.
Okay.
If somebody really wants to have a personal discussion, we can start from there, because sometimes I have given my number and I get calls which I cannot deal with.
Yes.
So be hesitant to give that. But if somebody really wants to get in touch, they can use those. Also,
those
the
platforms.
email and those platforms are very, very effective.
Yes.
And we always reach back. In fact, even for the issue of Tunza Kenya, and that may even be a better option. There is something. We have a platform on email also, confidential@tunzakenya.org.
Yes, confidential at
tunzakenya.org.
Okay.
Get there, we always get back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm a witness to that, because the moment I reached out to you, you got back to me right away. So I can guarantee you, you reach out to George, he will respond to you. So we come to the end of today's episode, and I hope you have loved it. I'm sure you are, an information wiser, and we now have, stirred up that braveness, to reach out. Okay, do not keep quiet. Also take personal responsibility, as we have been directed, from your own personal space, the spaces that you occupy, especially our social media spaces. We really need to take care. Be the reason someone feels encouraged. Be the reason someone wants to take care of themselves and not hate themselves. So, and now we come to the end of today's show. In the next episode, we're going to have someone who has started a very beautiful initiative, and this is for our diaspora people. Okay, our diaspora members who are working abroad and you want to invest back home, okay, and you have no idea or where to begin or with whom to invest. Please make sure you stay tuned, because in the next episode I'm going to bring you a lawyer who is going to guide us through all these things, so that your money is safe, that your investments are safe when you come back home. So at that point, I say goodbye, and it's namaste from all of us.